We don't talk a lot of UNLV football, but we're going to right now because there's something happening in the desert that is going to happen in the SEC, that is going to happen in major conferences, and could perhaps happen to Tennessee one day. So let's discuss, because Tennessee's been on the forefront of NIL. Other schools haven't. Jaden Rashada showed up to Florida and his money wasn't there. It derailed his career. Caleb, pull this up right now and tell me about this young man that has decided he's running from the Rebels in the middle of the season.
Yeah, so Matthew, I'm going to tell the full story. Matthew Sluka was the Holy Cross quarterback for 4 years and transferred to UNLV this year. UNLV is off to a fiery hot start. They are led, by the way, by Barry Odom, who, in case you guys don't remember, was the Missouri offensive coordinator, or the Missouri head coach who hired Josh Heupel as offensive coordinator. They're 3-0. They have beaten Houston and Kansas, 2 Power 5 wins already on the road. They are now, with Memphis losing and with Northern Illinois losing, it's safe to say that UNLV is right there with Washington State in competition to be that group of 5 team to make the college football playoff this year. That's how good of a season they're having.
Yeah, so this is not, and I want to declare, this is not some nothing story. This is real. I mean, this is a team that could potentially be in the college football playoff. Probably a reach, but could.
Yeah, exactly. And so they're second right now. They probably be second on Vegas odds right now of the group of 5 teams, only to Washington State. Their quarterback, Matthew Sluka, has now revealed in the middle of the season that he is going to take a red shirt and hit the transfer portal. So he put this little thank you picture first up, and then he put this out. And here's what he said. I've decided to utilize my redshirt year and will not be playing in any additional games this season. I committed to UNLV based on certain representations that were made to me, which were not upheld after I enrolled. Despite discussions, it became clear that these commitments would not be fulfilled in the future. I wish my teammates the best of luck this season and hope for the continued success of the program.
I feel like there's more that we don't know, but let's take it on face value. You start. What are your thoughts on this? Last Look brought to you by Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Hahn.
I think it's exactly what we think. And guys, I've told you before, and many people haven't paid attention, but I said UNLV is one of these sleeping giants of college football as a small program, because a program based in Vegas with sports gambling reaching its apex allows for NIL to really get involved at that school. It's the biggest school in Nevada, and Vegas, like, I mean, Dave, how much of a recruiting lure is it to go say you want to come play in Vegas? So, like, there's a lot of UNLV could own the West in a lot of ways. I think they put the cart in front of the horse, and I think they saw that same thing I saw, and they pulled a Florida, and they started throwing out NIL money and NIL promises without cobbling together the necessary NIL money. And now I think it's coming back to bite them. And I think this is just the first.
Hey, may I say I'm very proud of our fan base, because I said who is the better person, Lane Kiffin or Hugh Freeze, and Lane Kiffin won 89%. New poll before I give you my take on exactly what I think about this young man quitting, which is essentially it. Would you like UNLV to be in the SEC, which would mean occasional trips to Vegas, which I know some of you would.
Yes.
Like. Yeah.
Let's do it, Dave.
That wouldn't be that bad. Last Look brought to you by Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Hahn. Here's the problem with all this in 15 seconds.
To visit cctis.com. The information you need is easy to access, and setting an appointment is as simple as clicking the tab. Doctors Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Hahn, and Eye Care Optical at cctis.com. Simply the best.
Caleb, you know me. I'm all for players getting all they can, right?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know how much this young man got to go to UNLV, but here is the problem, and it's not a labor issue, and you might have a really, really big problem with this, and I'm cool with it. If you are, you can call me some kind of socialist or communist, but the reason there needs to be some sort of limit, and there's going to be, the House has to pass this, there needs to be some sort of limit on what a player can make, is, in my opinion, because of issues like this. So he may take the UNLV money, and that's enough, and then he just says, I'm going to sit. So in some cases, guys have been made financially independent. And for those of you that say, well, that's fine. I mean, Nico's worth that much. Well, what if Nico up and decides, like Andrew Luck, that the game's too physical and he doesn't want to be a part of it anymore? What if, there's so much money right now at play. I think I'm pro salary cap, and typically I'm for you get all you can. But I think this is what happens when you just throw a ton of money at somebody. I don't know what he got, but there's that potential for that. And the transfer portal is so easy. That's why I think culture, that word again, is the most underrated thing you can have in college football. And Tennessee's very blessed to have it right now. Better than, I would say, the lion's share of Power 4 teams.
Okay, I'm going to push back because in this situation, Dave, I don't think it was him who came back and wanted to renegotiate. It's looking like UNLV didn't uphold their promises to him. What do you do if you were promised something from an NIL perspective and then you get there, you deliver them to a 3-0 start, put them in contention for the college football playoff, which nobody saw, and then you're not getting the money you were promised?
Okay, that's fair. And I hadn't thought about it from that perspective. So let me ask you this. Does he owe it to his teammates to go out there and play? Let's say that he was supposed to get $100. I'm sure he got something. Let's say $100 and he got 50. Okay, I'm just throwing out nice, easy numbers. Does he owe it to his teammates to go out there and play?
No. I mean, you play for your teammates in the confines of the field, but you have those teammates by thinking for yourself first. And I'm sorry. I think he's got to look out for himself. Also, this kid is not going to the NFL. I don't know if you look at his numbers. He's a run first quarterback. He's never going to make it in the NFL. He's completing like 43% of his passes. He's a college weapon, but this is his chance to make the most money. This is the type of kid that like he should take all the NIL money he can get right now. And I think he knows that. So there's absolutely no reason for him to do this for his players or his team. UNLV should pony up the money. Someone said it. You're right. UNLV could be mafia NIL. Here's the thing with Tennessee, Dave. It would be epic, right? Like, and by the way, he better hope the mafia didn't couple that. Like, isn't the one he's like bailing on with that?
But, oh my gosh, he shows up and he's he's suddenly in a car that just exploded because he's for the rebels.
Exactly. By the way, and that's the thing with Tennessee, Dave. You and I both know Tennessee doesn't lie about NIL to their players. They deliver on every promise, and they have a full-on layer of what to do. I'm not actually opposed to a salary cap in NIL the way you think. My only issue with the salary cap is people saying that don't want a salary floor. A salary cap means that there should be a salary floor for every player playing, even the most unimportant player on the team.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. If you do a salary floor, but then you say we have to guarantee, and then you have a union and say the players can guarantee this amount of money has to be set aside for us every year, then I'm okay. But yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. UNLV broke a promise to this kid. He has every right to do what he wants to do. And by the way, Florida's just lucky that Jaden Rashada figured it out before the season. But here's the question, Dave.
He did, but he didn't. I mean, before the fiscal year, he showed up in January. He's supposed to be the starter. Theoretically, the next fall.
That's true. But
that's pretty late in the process to not know you have cash. He ended up having to go to Arizona State?
Yep. And now yep. And here's the thing. Tennessee is one of those schools, as you know, Dave, that's promising things on the back end. And this is why this is relevant. This kid clearly wasn't getting what he was promised on the back end. There's going to be a lot of schools that have marquee games in September that need a player for that marquee game. And they might make a promise and say, we'll give this to you on the back end at the end of September. They don't give it. That player transfers after helping them win that game.
Okay, so what's the young man's name again?
Matthew Sluka.
How do you spell Matthew Sluka?
MATTHEWSLUKA.
Okay. I'm gonna put a poll question up. Should Matthew Sluka be afraid of the mob? I mean, surely not. But You know,
I mean, if Saudi Arabia is going to get in on college football, you know the mafia will.
where's Saudi Arabia in college football?
Oh, they've been looking to buy a college football conference or a team because they want. Do you know this? They want to sports watch for all their human rights violations. So I mean, I think Florida State and Clemson are about to be like, hey, Florida State, hey, Saudi Arabia, where's that Saudi money? Come on, because they're stuck in the ACC.
Okay. Should Matthew Sluka be afraid of the mob? Yes. Can't quit on the mob. No, it's all corporate in Vegas. By the way, somebody mentioned if you can give us our earlier standing of our poll question, and would you want UNLV to be an SEC team? So our poll question now, should Matthew Sluka be afraid of the mob? He shouldn't be afraid. The mob's not a real thing anymore, is it?
I mean, what? Here's the thing, Dave. What is an illegal operation to one person is a recognized corporation to another person. Just like what is terrorism to one country is military protection to another country.
Okay.
You know,
it sounds like to me that Caleb may be in the mob.
I'm saying the mob.
You look Scotch Irish or maybe English. What are you?
I'm just every form of white there is.
Yes. Okay. Well, you know, so he can't be a made man, but he could be like Ray Liotta in the one movie. Help me with the name of that movie. Come on. It was the best mob movie ever.
I don't watch mob movies.
All right. Well, you're missing out. And you don't watch James Bond movies. Put it on the poll question. I'm questioning Caleb's toughness.